And yes, Adina Thembi with this one, forgive if you can. Now we're about to talk about forgiveness in relationship. Easter is a period of forgiveness, we must realize. So how about we speak on that and to give us a bit more insight into that and also give us how we can be able to overcome that big situation of forgetting as well is Miss Nancy. You can catch her every Saturday on TV3 with Confessions. And she literally gets us to confess our deepest and darkest, and as well get the help that we require. Miss Nancy's here with Kelly Daniels, and it's exciting to have you two in the studios. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Beautiful and then handsome.
I know, yeah. The whites
you.
are on this side, and then the other colors are on that side.
She's wearing great dark.
You know how I love it when you come very colorful.
Hey. Thank you, Miss
Nancy.
Nancy. Now, Miss Nancy, forgiveness.
Awesome.
Let's dive straight into it, because in this period we all preach forgiveness. I mean, Christ died on the cross for our sins. He forgave us all of that. But then the problem is, as humans, especially when you go through something difficult with either a loved one, a romantic partner, even family, it's so hard to forgive, especially to forgive and forget. Now, is it true that can you really forgive in a relationship and forget?
Forgive is just a conscious effort to let go of the pain, the hurt, the resentment that you get because somebody did something to you that did hurt you, that did cut deep. And so it's not something that happens to you, it is something that you happen to, because you need to tell yourself that I need to let this go. There are so many types of forgiveness. The type you choose would cause you to forgive and forget, or to just let it go, let it slide. So I would talk about what we call exoneration. It's a kind of forgiveness where you just sit down and you say that, let me just delete this experience from my mind. Let me take away the pain. Let me take away the hurt. Let me forget about it. And you just don't forget about it. You clean up the scene such that, AJ, if it were you that did hurt me, I'd forget you ever did that, and our relationship will go back to its original status as if you never hurt me. And I think that exoneration is divine. It's not something that we mortals are great at. Because to be able to let it go, because the human mind, we consume and we store data. And so whatever it is that you did to me, my mind experienced it stored it. And sometimes it's very, very, very difficult, unless you are a Christian and the Bible compels you. So beyond you wanting to forgive because you care about the person, or the relationship is important to you, or you have, the scripture asking you, forgive one another as God has forgiven you. So there is the biblical aspect to it if you're a Christian. Or I do not think that there is any book in the world, religious book, that says I do not forgive.
No, of course.
Not at all.
I've not read all of them, but I believe that in our world, if we want to live, we need to live with peace. And we only have peace when people hurt us and we are able to let go of it. You can forgive and forget, but it's divine. So you need a spiritual backing to do that. But for the others...
This is Mika's house.
Oh, yeah.
Mika's house, benediction. But Kelly, there's a critical thing about people telling you that I've forgiven you. But then they never forget.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you should not forget. But what's that thing lying between me claiming that I've forgiven you, but I really haven't forgiven you because I haven't forgotten?
Well, thank you, Ronald. Thing is, I don't see how the human mind could ever forget about...
Just not possible.
...something that was so real to the person. And these things span through a lifetime. So I can forgive you, but I can't forget. I'm sorry, I'm talking for myself. I can't forget what you did. I can just choose not to let what you did hurt me any further.
Right.
Not because I can't remember, not because what you did wasn't hurtful, but I choose that, okay, this is it. It's not going to hurt me. Even when I remember, in fact, each time I remember, I come to give you a kiss to let you know I still love you. Now that's commitment. So I can forgive, but it's not possible that anybody gets to forget because the memory, I mean, we've got triggers, we've got, people still dealing with trauma. Yes, I've forgiven you, but hey, you cut me at a certain place. However, I believe that forgiveness should be, well, if you're talking relationships, I'm married now, relationships, I would say that forgiveness only exists within the hemisphere of friendship, dating, and courtship. Forgiveness is not permitted in marriage. Forgiveness doesn't work in marriage.
How so?
In marriage, you don't forgive. It's almost toxic to forgive in marriage. To say that I forgive my wife in marriage is almost useless.
Why?
Okay, so
That's very controversial.
I'll explain. I'll explain.
Yes, you're
So,
allowed.
Forgiveness means you hurt me, I let go because I know you won't do it again. Because we have cleaned the plates and we've moved on. What if you do it again? The very same thing and worse. I tell you, I forgive you too. Okay. What about 10 times later?
What are you forgiving me again?
Your sorry is finished.
Yeah.
The bank where you kept the sorry is finished. That's in a relationship. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is how you are. I'm sorry, I'm done. Okay, forgiveness granted, access denied to a certain limit, right? But in marriage, we don't forgive. Forgiveness is too cheap to uphold a marriage. What we have in marriage is forbearance.
Okay.
Explain.
Forgiveness says, okay, I know you hurt me and you say you're sorry, you appear remorseful, so I let it go.
Yeah.
In a relationship.
Yeah.
But in marriage, it says that, look, if I must keep this marriage, I can't keep forgiving you because it keeps hurting me. Because the last time you said sorry reminded me of the 99 other times
You had said
you
sorry.
broke my heart and you tore me into pieces.
Wallahi.
There's almost nothing going to be left of me to have the grace to forgive because, come on, I'm human.
Of course.
And I pray a lot, but even in my prayer, I cry. I don't even know what words to use again. So what I use in marriage is forbearance. Forbearance means, you know what? For the futuristic sorries you'd ever give me, I let go. So I forbear. I now accept that this is how you are. I can't change it. I need to know how to manage living with you with it just in case you never change. Because now we're married. And we said we would never leave this place. We would grow together, get old together, and possibly age together till we're all gray. So if that is the primary purpose of why we're still sticking together, forgiveness is too cheap to keep us together. It's got to be forbearance. There has to be an elastic extension.
And then you also have to know that the conversation is about relationships.
Right.
And so it's not
Right.
necessarily only marital relationships.
Oh, no, that's why I said
Every
forgiveness has its
relationship.
place.
Yeah. Okay.
Forgiveness has its place where it can be so celebrated. But in marriage is wearying. It's tiring. It's exhausting to keep, especially if it's the same thing. Or a different version of the same thing. Or it's something somehow that looks like the same thing that reminds you of the previous thing. If you don't have forbearance, you'll be out of that marriage in no time.
Now, at the risk of delving into interesting waters,
Right.
now bringing in the topic of cheating in relationship, and now placing it in context of forbearing in marriage, how do you reconcile sort of accepting, forbearing, when the topic or the issue at hand is cheating?
Fantastic. Thank you. So before I got married, I signed a deal of for better, for worse, saying that no matter what you do, putting every and any factor into perspective, that this is my vow to you, having crossed all T's and dotted every I before we got to the altar.
Right.
So why then do I withdraw and review that contract when I marry you because you cheated? The only reason why I would encourage anyone I might not even encourage anyone to leave, but I might think that a justification for living in marriage will be that your life is actually on the line,
Domestic
and
violence.
your domestic violence and its environs, and then or your relationship with God is dying, because there's no marriage in heaven. It starts and ends here. You would not give account for who you got married to. You won't even give account for if you got married or not. So why do you allow your marriage to debar you from getting to heaven, if that's your target? So cheating should not be a reason why I must, even if it's a multiple cheat, I would have to know how to live with the situation. Now, that's expensive to say, cheap rather to say, because you say, okay, until you get there, you don't know how it is. But you see, this thing called forbearance, it doesn't teach you to be a dummy. It doesn't tell you that you're a fool. It just tells you you know so much that wisdom is encapsulated in you to let the person know that you're too childish. You're too childish about this. So I'm going to treat you as my child, not my spouse.
All right. Now, Miss Nancy, in the light of this conversation, whether it's forbearance or forgiveness, as a person, if you're in a relationship, in such a situation, what should be some of the key attributes you should have?
Okay, so
For that places you in a good position to either forbear or forgive.
it is about virtues you bring to the table, who you have decided to be for yourself and for your beloved. And love is the bottom line.
Fantastic.
Where there is love, absolutely there is forgiveness. Because when you feel so strongly about a person, you realize that what they do may hurt you, but not being with them hurts you even more. So you are able to say that, yes, it's okay for me to be with this person and let them be human. We understanding that hurting people, being hurt by people, it's human. There is no way you will live with somebody that you would not hurt. Even your parents, I would talk about love, the deepest connection are from mother to child. And sometimes you would hurt your mother would hurt you. How much more someone's son or daughter that was raised from somewhere you do not know, that you just felt attracted to, felt strongly about, and you decided to do the journey of life together. Understand that people will hurt you. Understand also that you would also hurt people. Now, the virtues you need. In love, long suffering is part of it. And we usually don't want to talk about it. When you love people, you suffer long for them.
You have to conscientize your mind.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
That love is long suffering. Yes, and love is patient. And love is kind. You know, sometimes we are kind in our actions, but we do not think kindly about people. When I love people and they hurt me, one of my greatest strengths is to make excuses for the people I love. That, oh, AJ snapped at me. AJ is usually a very wonderful, warm person. Probably she woke up at the wrong side of the bed. AJ's mood, she's a woman like me. Probably it's at that time of the month. My friend, is she probably going through a certain level of stress or depression? My boss, my colleague, what could be their issue? Because there are times that when you love people, let us endeavor to love. Because when we love people, we pay attention to the details of who they are, such that we are able to know who Miss Nancy is, what she would do easily and what she would not do. And when you know who I really am and love me for who I am, you would know when this is not me. And so you will give me an excuse, not because I gave you that excuse. You are loving me such that you are saying that I cannot intentionally want to hurt you.
Right.
So I will let it go. So patience, long-suffering, thinking kindly. I mean, it's all about love. When there is love, there is forgiveness.
Now, let me cut in with this one. As you would know, human nature sometimes tends to take advantage of people. We see a kind person, we see someone who loves deeply, and sometimes some people's first impression is, let's take advantage of that. Now, how do you forgive when you know the person blatantly did it? Not because they were it was a mistake on their part, or
Right.
because they weren't self-aware that they were hurting you, but they deliberately did it to take advantage of your qualities.
You see, when you grow in love and you grow in forgiveness, you get to a place where you develop this attitude of indifference. When people hurt you, and it's so bad, and you know you cannot live, with these people again, the relationship cannot be. What I do is that I take you back to factory settings. That this is Roland. He's a human being on this earth just like me. Working about just like the poor seller I met, the guy at the shelf filling station that attended to me that I do not know. And I would extend any kind of kindness to any human being, and I would do it for him. But this is not a person I know. This person cannot be my friend anymore. This person cannot be my confidant anymore.
Right.
So you need to mind your mental health also. Forgiveness does not mean that you keeping people that are mean, people that would take advantage of you, people that would intentionally hurt you by your life. No, that is not forgiveness. That is you. The Bible says, love your brother as yourself. You cannot love them more than yourself.
Absolutely.
Put yourself first, and in that vein, you put them. So any person that wants to hurt you so much, the person doesn't deserve to be in your life. We're talking forgiveness, but we're not saying that every person deserves to be in your life. At a point, you need to know whom to let go.
Okay.
So you take the person from a close friend to somebody you know. It hurts so much when it comes from a family member.
Absolutely.
Because when it comes to blood, there is nothing you can do about
it.
the relationship. But you avoid them as much as possible for your own health and for your mental. You have no idea what unforgiveness does to people, especially our physical health too.
Now, let me bring in Kelly into the conversation. Now, forgiveness and then compartmentalizing, like cutting off, as Ms. Nancy is rightly saying.
I like that, by the way.
And I would like to hear your thoughts on that, but also compartmentalizing your relationship with the person. You know, Ms. Nancy has done this to me, so I'm not going to cut her off, but I'll place her in a certain section of my life where she doesn't get access to be able to hurt me in that way again. Maybe it's man troubles. You know, don't bring her around your man. Because other than that, you know, like those kind of issues that sometimes on the female part, we actually tend to deal with.
Well, see, let's understand what love is. Love is spiritual, period. Love is spiritual, manifested physically. The evidence of your love rating tells me how deep you are in spirit.
Right.
You cannot love without being godly. Love is God and God is love. And so forgiveness has to be of God. And so is forbearance. Let's put that on one corner. Now, let's deal with compartmentalization. Now, thing is, every relationship has got to be defined.
Right.
No matter how long you've known the person. In my book, The Friend You Should Not Marry, there are 3 stages I would want to mention right here. It's the stranger, the acquaintance, and the friend.
Explain.
So the stranger is someone you have met who you are happy to know more of.
Okay.
That's a stranger.
Okay.
Anybody could be that. An acquaintance is someone you are familiarizing yourself with and want to know more. It's it's a thin line between a stranger and an acquaintance. A stranger is someone you have noticed and you want to know more of. But an acquaintance is someone you're open to relating to in a certain friendly manner. But who is a friend? A friend is a person who understands your purpose in life, who can interpret your purpose in life, and can execute your purpose or calling in life without being told, even in your absence. Anyone who cannot do that should never, ever, ever, by any circumstance or longevity of relationship, be called your friend. And your friend would not do so and so to you. So when the person you call a friend does so and so to you, you factory setting, like she said immediately, okay, where do you stand? Where do you start? Stranger, acquaintance, stranger, acquaintance. Because I love you so much, acquaintance. You've got to earn your place back as a friend, not by telling me you're sorry. I need to have seen you play out that friendship again, to not necessarily to win my heart or to convince me to by all I must be a devil not to notice all those things that you've done. And you're not doing it for eye service. You're doing it because this is the real you. This is the remorseful you. This is the repentant you. And you come back to friendship level. So never give a person a place in your life they haven't earned. I repeat, never give a person a place in your life they haven't earned. They have to continually earn it. It's not a one-time thing because people flip-flop in relationships. People dilly-dally. I might be a fantastic friend today, and by some reason I do something contrary to what we both understand as our value systems, as friendship, and we go into stranger mode. I mean, no offense, no, that's just who you are now, until further notice.
Right.
Now, is it easy to forgive, or what do we do? How do we push people away? Well, the reason I said love is spiritual is that even Jesus knew who was going to betray him.
Right.
We're in the Easter season, right? Jesus knew who was going to betray him and still ate with him. And even defined, literally almost mentioned the name of the person, and the person still ate with him and still
Betrayed him, yeah.
So, love exposes people to you even before they hurt you sometimes if you're deep enough in spirit. And you can even avoid the hurt by compartmentalizing the person before the hurt happens. So when the hurt happens, oh no, don't worry, I saw it coming.
Yeah.
And the person's like, oh, how did you say, oh no, don't worry, it's okay, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, people don't speak enough about breakups.
Right.
Friendship breakups. Because relationship breakups, it's expected.
Yeah.
Your heart is broken, the person doesn't love you anymore, the person cheats or whatever it is. But we don't talk enough about friendship breakups and how painful it is when someone you've considered your friend, your best friend, does something to hurt you,
Right.
or doesn't support you,
Right.
or doesn't step up when you expected them to do so. And how you have to go through a whole mourning period of mourning that friendship, mourning that support
The
system
loss.
that has already gone off. I'll come to you, Miss Nancy, and I'll come to you, Kelly.
Simple. Oh, by the way, we know we can't answer all the questions.
Yes.
So just
And also, we'll be opening the phone line soon. So we'll open the phone line soon so that people can ask it. But
if
let me
you
start
could
with you,
just
Kelly.
go on Instagram to just follow at Kelly Daniel's office and send me your questions.
Okay.
If you can't make it here, just
Yeah.
at Kelly Daniel's office on Instagram. Follow and send. I would handle the counseling sessions. Now, you need to understand that you see, you're dealing with a human, but you need to be more conscious that you are a spirit.
Okay.
But you're dealing with a human
Yes.
who may not be conscious that he or she is a spirit. That's why you need to understand that you cannot give people, nobody can hurt you without your permission. You can take that to the bank. Nobody can hurt you without your permission. You allowed it. You created the atmosphere, the environment, the comfortability for the person to hurt you. So if that be the case, there might not be a mourning season in my life because I'm not going to permit it. Yeah, I've opened my heart to you and you did so and so what you did, but I will not get to a point where I have to mourn your departure or separation because perhaps I saw it coming. Perhaps I had waited, I had lingered too long, like repetition of hurts, and then finally we're like, okay, you know what? Guy, this is where we draw the line, so we amicably go. But there are cases where you don't see it coming, actually. What do you do in those cases? You've got to forgive yourself for permitting it happen. Self-forgiveness helps you then forgive the person.
Right.
Because mental health is key. After all is said and done, you've got to find yourself to love yourself again. Because you'll be like, how could I even let this guy or lady do so and so? With all my level of intelligence?
Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
Forgive yourself and let yourself know that, look, things happen. But then until you deal with that self-forgiveness, you will still hurt even deeper when you come across the person, or maybe it's the person's post or something like that. So self-forgiveness. Now, you need to let the person know you have forgiven the person, whether the person wants to entertain that or not.
I have to cut you in to go to
Right.
Samuel in OUB. Hello, Samuel. Thank you for calling TV3Newday. Yes, Samuel. What is your question or contribution?
Yes, I would want to find out in terms of compartmentalizing. Do we compartmentalize relatives also? If you have a brother or a
Absolutely.
sister who hurts you so much,
Right.
do you also compartmentalize them?
Yeah.
You
All right.
must-
So
Experiential
question. Ms. Nancy?
Yes, you need to.
the sake of
Even
your
among
peace.
siblings in the family, you realize that you are closer to certain people than
Than
you
others.
are with others. So it's very easy. There are families that are blood and you will not do or cannot do anything about it. And there are families that become friends, that become confidants, you depend on them physically, spiritually, emotionally, sometimes even financially. So if you know that your sister is the type that would not keep anything to her heart, and you go and tell her about your marital issues and she's spreading it all over the place, know who the people in
Yes.
your life are.
Are.
Beyond even family. You see, we are getting to a place where we move with so much speed, fast fooding every aspect of our lives, be it career, relationships, friendships. We just meet one day at the party, we smile, and before you know, you are telling your life story to this person. So sometimes if we're careful, if we would allow people to go through the processes they are supposed to go through, we get to know them, and that makes it easier for us to know which department of our lives
You should
they
place
belong
them
to.
in. All right, Kelvin from Awashi is on the line. Hello, Kelvin. Thank you for calling. What is your question or contribution?
Mine is a contribution.
Please go ahead.
Seriously, I'm getting to think that these relationship coach are actually leading a lot of relationships to the ditch.
How do you mean?
Because one of the things that I foresee is that everybody with the way he starts his relationship. One, two, where the person meets, what happens, are becoming sectors of where everybody look at how the relationship must go. One, if even you meet a lady in a trouble, you solve his problem for him. No matter how that relationship might go, the lady thinks you are indebted. She's indebted.
Right.
One, but some of the things that they always come to just educate us on, I think they need to really look at how the relationship starts. That is the fundamental, because everybody meets his partner in the various places. And how that relationship begins, most of us think we are indebted
To the people.
in whatever way. So forgiveness and love, as you were discussing, you need to have a big heart for forgiveness. Relationship, if you cannot forgive the person throughout anything that could happen, there can't be any love.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much for that.
One of the things I foresee is that maturity is becoming less in most of our relationships today.
Okay.
Maturity is becoming less of what our relationship is becoming today. And we are actually beginning to look at let me tell you one thing.
Please.
When some people living in East Legon, when they even meet, their relationship are different from when you meet somebody in Good Business.
Oh, isn't that bees
I'm telling you,
a bit prejudiced, honestly?
The language and how you might even accept somebody in East Legon is different from the language that you might speak to somebody than Suma or Good Business, because what the person might be looking at is a different thing. And seriously, East Legon relationship could break up. Good Business or Dansuma will stay.
Really?
So I believe that they should really look at that aspect of their coaching life. And it will help. Give them, we are ready. Situation even now is actually building relationship different from the way we need to look at it in book reading.
Okay.
You see, sometimes you can meet the person even in the market. For you, the man even be in the market alone. The lady has fallen in love with you. and at the end of the day, somebody also from East Legon want to meet somebody at Kempinski. He meet the person that he think like, hey, I've met the standard of the guy. But forgiven. On your job, but the person, you always be at the market buying the tuna and other things coming
Together, right?
Regards to Roland, tell him he should call me.
Please, I will. But I think from,
That's quite interesting.
From this conversation, we all have to come to the realization that the society is changing. Our social status is changing.
Yeah.
Our preferences are changing.
Absolutely.
So, for example, I made an example about how men should allow their women the space also to be treated like the way they grow. So, for example, you should be willing that if you have your wife or your partner who is a top politician, entrepreneur, or somebody big in the society, and you have to play second fiddle as a man,
Absolutely.
you also need to create that space.
Not two relationships.
Do you understand?
I get it.
Do you understand?
Not two
so
marriages, I'll say.
so that the friction becomes less.
minimal.
That leads me to my question to you, following what you said. What are the things we see in the society that tend to contribute to our lack or inability to forgive or to create the space to empathize and also be more receptive?
Unfortunately, for about 5 years now, I realized that on social media, most quotes or blogs are about telling you how negative, how toxic human beings are, and how you should stay all by yourself if you do not want to be hurt, if you don't want to be offended. We're talking forgiveness, and we're saying that so long as human beings remain, we will hurt each other. That's a point I established.
So we need to have that in our consciousness.
Yes, that's so long as I love you, you will do things that I do not like, that would hurt my feelings. So understand that I would also be able to do same to you, consciously or unconsciously. If we get that straight, we would know. Now the society is telling us not to even love, not to even trust, not to even allow people to hurt us. Listen, this is life. We live, we eat, we die. We love people, we appreciate them, they hurt us, we hurt them back, we forgive, and we move on. This is life. So do not allow the society to tell you not to love anymore because somebody did hurt you. Do not allow the society to tell you to stick by yourself because you don't want to be hurt. If you don't want to be hurt, you are not living, you are not loving. Because you need to feel something for you to feel strongly about it when somebody does the opposite of what you are expecting. So let us go back to the place where we are human beings. I will hurt you. I will offend you. I will say words that will crack you. Compartmentalize. You know, we worked in this industry. It's not every industry person that's your friend.
That's true. Well, we will come to your thoughts, Kelly, but Kwesi from East Legon is on the line. Hello? Kwesi from Fantiland, actually. Kwesi from Fantiland is on the line. Hello, Kwesi.
I thought he was an East Legon person there talking.
Yes, Kwesi. What are your thoughts or contributions or questions?
Hello?
Yes, please. Kindly go ahead.
Okay. Sometimes I've been watching people giving comments on relationship, and the people that you invite on screens, not these particular people, but on many occasions. You see, if the Methodist Archbishop marriage have lasted for 60 years, it doesn't mean that how and the process he and the wife passed through to sustain that marriage, when you call that person to come and sit and give it out,
they will be able
automatically everybody pick it up. No. God created us differently.
Absolutely.
And individually we have our characters. As the panelist is saying, it depends on me. I've decided that my father didn't marry for me. I went for the lady myself. So when the lady troubles me, I don't have that guts to go to my father and be complaining. You know those days when your father pick you a lady and give it to you, then you can even go, you see the lady you give me, complain upon complain.
Yes.
So it's up to me to decide. You, the lady yourself, and I myself. This one I will just overlook it and move with the relationship. One of you should decide deliberately, no matter how bitter it is. It doesn't matter. You know, most of the times, it depends the kind of people that we enter a relationship with.
Of course.
Before we have even go there, we have a mindset, oh, this particular tribe, they are like this. So when I go to it, I get this. Meanwhile, maybe that lady or that gentleman was not trained from that home.
Okay.
Maybe I was born in Cape Coast,
Yes.
but maybe I was raised in Accra. So you don't expect me that because I was born in Cape Coast and I carry Fantin automatically, the attributes the Fantins have automatically I have it. No. So it should be deliberate.
Right.
That I have decided no matter what my wife do, I will overlook it. But it doesn't mean that we should keep it ourselves. When keeping it ourselves, it becomes so dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, we will have to lose. So your concluding words finally, Lisa? Oh, well, we lost him there. Now coming to Kelly, interesting thoughts our callers send there. But in terms of as well, as Ms. Nancy was earlier saying, figuring out, compartmentalizing, and then just moving forward in a way that brings you peace. Because at the end of the day, after forgiveness, the one thing you should feel is peace, because you've sort of the burden that you were carrying, or the remorse, the resentment you were having for someone else, you sort of let it go.
Right.
Now that journey to peace, and having to sort of cut people in it, doesn't it come off as maybe you are the problematic one? And how do you deal with that when people see that you are going to a point where you're cutting people off?
Okay, well, first of all, what is the true check or test of love and forgiveness if there's no hurt? What shows that you are loving and you're forgiving and you're forbearing if the tsunamic hurts don't come your way? It's how you deal with the hurts and the pain and the grief that shows how loving you are and how forgiving or forbearing you are. So let's sort that out. Love is not complete without hurts. In fact, hurt is the reason why love exists.
Okay.
Oh God, I could say that again. So in this case, I would say, after forgiving yourself and after forgiving the other, work on yourself. Where could I be deficient? It's not always the other person's fault. Come on, you triggered something.
Yeah.
So work on yourself, and then we will be fine if we all do so.
What about you? Last words for you.
I am just to say that, like Kelly just mentioned, to love is to forgive. And let us build ourselves to be able to forbear the long suffering, the patience, the understanding. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not hold records of wrong. 2 Corinthians speaks about love in that manner. And for me, love is forgiveness. And with God, he says before we sin, he has forgiven us.
Right.
So if you're going to love this person and accept this person, before they get there, you have so much forgiveness in store for them.
Well,
and let us not stop loving.
Miss Nancy, you have to love me.
Love makes this world go round.
Miss Nancy, you for love me, because this one here.
But man, I love you.
Yeah,
and I love AJ.
And I love you too, Miss Nancy. I love you too, Roland. And